Hey viewers, my name's Cara. I know it's been a minute since I've done a video here on my personal channel. It's been a lot lately, hasn't it? I think for everybody in different ways. And I've been healthy, no worries about that. I've been staying home and staying safe and pretty happy to do so. I already work from home most of the time, so it's not like it was a huge transition or anything. And I know I talked about that before, but yeah, the past couple of weeks, just kind of a lot of stuff kind of fell on me mentally, emotionally, spiritually, if not physically. And I just couldn't get any videos made for a couple of weeks. I skipped a week on PaganPerspective as well, and I think 2 weeks here on my channel, technically 3 weekends, but now this is the weekend. I am recording this on the weekend that I normally would be posting a video, or at the time of the week that I would normally be trying to do a video. So this would have been the third weekend, but I'm recording it. Actually, my partner and I were supposed to leave the house for the first time in months today to go help my partner's parents uncover their pool, which we always do Memorial Day weekend. So we were going to go help them with that because it is outdoors and it is something that we are already quite distanced when we do, because we're all on opposite ends of the pool and, helping to open it up. And we went to do that today, and the car wouldn't start. The vehicle would not start. So we have a little battery here that you can use to jumpstart a car battery. Tried it multiple times, didn't work. So we were just like, we're staying home today. So I decided now, while the sun is now beginning to set and it's past the point where it's just blaring into the enclosed porch here, that I would go ahead and record a little update vlog and let you know some of the stuff I've been up to. Mostly just say, hey, what's up? It's already the end of May. I can't believe it. My grandmother's birthday was earlier this month. So my grandma passed away a couple years ago, as you may know if you have been following the channel for a while. You would have seen my update videos about that, and then my tribute video that I made for her a year after she passed away. But she would have been 95 this year in the middle of the month. She was a Taurus. And so I think, even though I've been dealing with insomnia on and off, mostly on, for a few years now, there are definitely times where it eases up and I have an easier time falling asleep faster. I get tired sooner. I stay asleep when I do fall asleep, stuff like that. But then it comes back around to where all of a sudden I can't sleep again. And when I do get to sleep, it takes forever. And then I wake up easily and I wake up multiple times and I can't stay asleep. And that started happening to me again at the beginning of May. And then I realized oh, grandma's birthday's coming up. And then I thought, oh, I wonder if that's partly why my insomnia has started coming back in more strongly. And then I remembered it did the same thing last year in May. And it also did the same thing this past year in December, which is the month that she actually passed away. So it's funny because even though consciously I hadn't yet registered Graham's birthday is coming up soon, it's my body did register it. And so that happens in May and in December. Even though I have insomnia the rest of the time to a degree, it does seem to kick it back up a notch at those points. So that definitely happened for me this month. Lots of birthdays and anniversaries of people that my partner and I have lost are in the month of May, as well as birthdays of people who are still around, including my brother and some dear friends of mine. So there's some happy days in May as well. But yeah, just a lot of stuff going on. And I also just kind of had to contend with the realization this month, I don't know if it was because of the anxiety or because of the insomnia, or just because of my anxiety and depression on their own, or, the combination of all three. But I ended up having to contend with the fact that I kind of like hit a wall and I realized I had been trying to do far too much, even though this entire time in pandemic I've been saying, and in my life in general, I am not a fan of the like hustle mentality. I am not a proponent of the idea that in order to make good things happen, we just have to go, 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 and do more, 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 faster, 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 better, 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 harder, better, faster, stronger, right? There are times for that, but it's also immensely important to take a break and rest. And for me, balance is a huge thing in my life and in my practice. And so it's always about knowing when it's the time for those moments. And I definitely have those times where I'm like, this is my productive time. This is when I'm going to do things. And then having to balance that with intentional rest moments. So I've been a big proponent during pandemic of encouraging people who usually are all about that hustle, go, go, go in their daily lives and daily routines, because that's kind of how you have to operate when you have a set schedule, other people depend on you, your daily job, whatever. But then when something like this happens and many people are still working, but working from home, a lot of people are just not working right now. We're kind of all just figuring it out. A lot of people have been saying, make sure you're staying productive, but I've been a big proponent of make sure you take a break, especially if your life in general is one that is all about go, 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 harder, better, faster, stronger, type of thing. Daft Punk reference, yes. And so it's been something that has kind of surprised me, that even though I've been a proponent of it this entire time, of like, this is not just a normal vacation. This is not just a normal, like, oh, your work gave you some time off. This is something bigger. It's something widespread. So, like, we all deserve to give ourselves a break and go easy on ourselves, in the sense that this is not the time off that we were all maybe asking for in order, when we think, like my partner and I, we've had projects around the house that we've been meaning to get to if we only had the time, right? And so, and other people I know have felt like that too. And it's like, oh, now we all have this time. So it seems like if we're not getting a million things done right now, that we're wasting being at home during pandemic or whatever. But that's just like, that's not a mentality that I'm here for. And it's not a mentality that I want to put on anyone else. So I've been reminding people, like, this is not a normal vacation. It's not a normal break. It is okay to not be productive. And yet I still found myself, circling back around now, wanting to do too many things and taking on too many things. And I didn't even realize that I was doing it, because it's so along the lines of the stuff that I already do anyway when I'm just working from home. So, taking advantage of people doing more online classes via Zoom, and even thinking that I was going to create some online classes during this, and joining 5 million book clubs while also kind of running my own book club and co-leading another book club through someone else's community. And, really thinking that I was going to be able to do all of that. And so I just kind of hit a wall earlier this month, where I was like, I just can't do anything. And I just couldn't do it. And so I gave myself a break, and I didn't beat myself up over it, because, like my partner said, like, it's okay if you decided last minute that you couldn't do the Pagan Perspective video that week, because even though it was too late to ask a sub to fill in for me, because that's not enough notice, like, it's okay if there's just not a video one day. I've been doing this for 10 years, and I very rarely ever miss a video on Pagan Perspective. Even a couple years ago, when I took like a 4-month hiatus from this channel and I didn't post any videos on my personal channel, I was still posting weekly on Pagan Perspective. So, it's that realization that, like, it's okay it's okay to take a little break and do a little bit less. So I've been trying to do a little bit less of all those things that I thought I was gonna do, and I've been trying to focus on my personal stuff. So I've been doing a lot of tarot work, which also felt kind of like deciding that I was gonna participate in a week-long course being offered online, right? But I very quickly decided that, like, I'm not gonna do this in a week. I'm not gonna do this just one day at a time or whatever. Like, I'm gonna utilize this stuff when I can get to it and when I feel the personal motivation to dive into this work. And so it's been like 2 weeks and I'm about halfway through a thing that was supposed to take a week if you had done it right along with when it was released. And I'm okay with that. I'm learning some really cool things from it. I'm diving into some archetypal work with the Emperor from the Major Arcana, and already learning some really good things about it. And some of it was also personal messages about, like, backing away from the too many things that I tried to do. Okay, I do have Gemini prominently in my chart. So if that tells you anything for the astrology people out there, yeah. I try to do a lot of things kind of all the time, and they don't always get done in a super timely manner because of that. So part of my personal lessons have been consciously pulling back from certain things, prioritizing and concentrating and focusing more on certain projects or certain aspects of things that I've been wanting to get done. So if that means doing it in my own time, such as the tarot work or my book clubs, reading, I've had to pull away from some discussion groups, and so I decided that, like, it was too overwhelming for me to just see a bunch of other people's thoughts as I was also reading a thing and having thoughts. And usually, you all know me, that's my bread and butter, that's what I do all day, is talk to people and discuss things and share ideas about things. That's why I'm here on YouTube. That's why I started doing this 10-ish whatever years ago. But right now, man, if it doesn't feel difficult, and that's another thing I'm trying to change my habitual language about, is saying things like man. So I've usually been saying, like, y'all, but I didn't catch it that time. I did catch it after, though, and that's what matters. So changing habits takes time. And yeah, so darned if I don't find it super difficult right now. And so I decided that I need to take time just for myself to read through a thing, take my notes, jot down my thoughts, and really get my personal initial thoughts down before I move on to anything else. But it was also a matter of, like, I created a reading progress chart for myself to keep track of how far I'm not getting in all of the books that I'm currently reading. And I've just had to completely actively step away from a couple of them because I thought, like, sure, I can very easily read a couple of chapters of 3 or 4 different books in a month. Normally, that is a thing that I could definitely do. And so that's why when this all kind of started, I was like, yeah, I can do that. Because normally I could do that. But I really was just not aware of how, I don't know, just the energy of everything going on the planet and with everybody was going to hit me. And I'm sure for everybody else too. I've definitely heard from a lot of my online friends and acquaintances who usually, like me, are avid readers. We read a ton and we read pretty quickly, and we can just, go through things at our pace. And yet, with quarantine, a lot of us have found ourselves, like, unable to read, like, unable to focus in a way that is not usual for us, who we are as readers, And so I'd be interested to hear if any of you who usually can't focus on certain things, if you're having the opposite experience, if you're finding that some things are actually coming more easily to you. Actually, I think one of my patrons did mention that about like the time at home, instead of being at work but being in their own home space, is actually making them feel more productive, because that is an experience that is unlike mine in general and with this specific example. But yeah, I and a lot of other people who I've talked to have expressed that like normally we could do all this reading and it would be, we think of it as no big deal, but yeah, it's been tough. It's been tough, and it's weird, But yeah, so really having to focus and prioritize what things am I going to concentrate on first? What am I going to concentrate on for today, for tomorrow? When am I going to intentionally give myself a break? When am I spending time with my partner? All these different things. So I am sort of running a discussion group, book club type thing about, I hit the thing that the tripod is standing on. My bad. About Starhawk's The Spiral Dance. This is the 20th anniversary edition. So this is through my Patreon, and I am also part of some other friends' book clubs through their Patreon, and I have the books, and I'm reading through them at my own pace, but I have had to step away from discussions right now actively. But the great thing is, even if you're not reading along with all of us or any book club out there, I think right now, most of us at least, if not every book club that's online, the resources about like what we're reading and what we're sharing as like background information and any discussion questions that we're coming up with, that stuff is going to remain available so people can keep referring to that later on. And I actually did plan on periodically throughout as we go through reading this book, which we are doing over the course of like 9 months. Okay, it's a very slow read through, 1 or 2 chapters a month, because there are exercises and we're taking time to go through the exercises and discuss them too. So it's not just a read this book in a month, talk about it, leave it alone, and never look at it again, right? For me, this is a reread, and for some others as well, but a lot of people are reading it for the first time. But yeah, we're reading through it very super slowly. So even if you join us in 4 or 5 months, we're only going to be through half the book, and the discussion questions that I generate and that other people generate, I will add into a thing. And I was thinking I might even do videos about it. That's what I was going to say. Periodically throughout the time that we are reading this book together, I thought about doing videos so that those of you here who maybe are not able to support my Patreon at this time or in the near future could still hear a little bit of my thoughts about it as we go. So I may still do that periodically throughout, or I might just break it up into 3 big videos throughout, so not like a monthly video, or I may wait until, I don't know, later and just do 1 big video. I don't really know yet. I'm just brainstorming, right? But so that's the thing I'm doing. Another thing that I've been working on is adding some more pages into my Book of Shadows, which a lot of you have seen before. It's this unicorn one here. A lot of those pages are still not filled, and I've had that journal for like 15 years. Started using it very early on in my practice, but the reason it's not full is because I don't use it for general journaling or anything like that, or my tarot readings or stuff like that. I only ever used it for reference material, like putting down definitions that I wanted to remember that I would want to look back at, writing down chants, prayers, blessings, songs, spells, anything like that that I felt like I needed to go back and actually read a reference to. Charts, tables of associations, the meaning of numbers, the meaning of colors, anything like that that I was learning years ago, I would put it in there. But there's not a lot of that kind of stuff that I tend to want to write down anymore. So I've been thinking about, I want to fill up these pages. what can I put in here? So I've just been going through and like looking at some of my other like scribble notebooks where as I'm learning, as I'm studying tarot, as I'm studying astrology, as I'm learning more about herbalism and whatever, I'm scribbling notes in all these other notebooks. So I'm like looking around and seeing like, was there like a nice reference chart or table somewhere that I put in these notes that I can transfer into this book? So I've been doing some of that, and I've only done like 2 more things. I also have pages in that book that were dedicated to each of the classical elements. So I had a page for air, fire, water, earth, and also one for spirit or center. And I pretty much had put like a heading and a few little things and symbols on each one, but the rest of the pages were blank. So I've started going through and just adding in a few more, associations that I've developed with the elements over the past 10 years. And those pages are still not full because I'm really only doing like little keywords and just a few things. I really want it to be something that I can keep adding to. And I can always do another version of those pages later on if I have more to add, but just little stuff like that. And it's been really immensely satisfying in like what might seem like a strange way, but I've been really enjoying it. And then I also noticed that several other people have posted about working on their books of shadows during this time too. So I think that that's maybe a common thought or feeling that we all had. That was like, I want to work on my book, like the place where I actually put like, I don't know, material that I'm gonna want to remember and look back at someday. I do my journaling in like spiral notebooks, so not that type of stuff, but like stuff that I've learned. Maybe more of us have had this feeling of like wanting to look back and kind of check in and at this time, which I think is pretty good. It's been pretty good for me. The neighbors are mowing their lawn, so that keeps starting and stopping. Sorry if that's loud and annoying, but yeah. And then the other sort of major thing that I've been working on is actually doing some stuff from home for the Buckland Museum, which hopefully I will be doing a little bit more of as time goes on. But I've just started with doing little write-ups about some things that are in the museum collection that, if you were to visit the museum and walk around now, not everything has a written explanation somewhere. Like if you go to an art museum or something like that, there's a little plaque or a placard or whatever, a little sign that tells you all of the pertinent information about that piece. And then, if you were to do like a museum tour, you would have someone telling you even more in-depth information. And we definitely do that at the Buckland Museum. That's one of the things I do there is I'm a tour guide when I am there. But the director, Stephen, is primarily the tour guide. And so we definitely do have more in-depth stuff, more stories, things like that we tell people when they come in for a tour. But we'd also like there to be some more info that people can just like look around and glance and read and learn just a little bit. So I've started doing a couple of those type of projects. And so actually today I was just looking through Big Blue again because I am preparing to write another little descriptive piece that will be hung in the collection to describe one of the sections of the current museum collection display. And I like to look through and see if there's anything in particular maybe that Ray Buckland had to say in his personal teachings, or especially in this book, because we talk about this book a lot when we're at the museum. Oh, there's a kitty in my backyard. Hi, kitty. I've been seeing a lot more cats in our backyard since my cat passed away at the beginning of April, by the way, which has just been lovely. But yeah, so I was looking through Big Blue again today, preparing to do another little project like that. And yeah, my partner and I are looking at getting both of our cars into the mechanic because my partner's car wouldn't start today and we can't get it to start. And my car needs a few things done to it before it can be road ready again. When it is road ready, I will be able to be at the Buckland Museum a little more often. And, they are open again now. For anyone who is wondering, they are open now with restrictions for pandemic situations. They can only have 6 guests in the museum at a time. It is a very small space. So in order to maintain social distancing protocol, we can only have a few people in the space at a time. Also, for our safety and the safety of everyone else, we will be wearing masks, and we ask that any guests to the museum at this current time also wear a mask. And the thing that I think a lot of people don't understand about the masks, because they say, like, well, wearing a mask, we've been told wearing a mask isn't effective for, like, just because I wear a mask, it doesn't mean I'm not going to get the virus, so why should I bother wearing it? The reason that they're recommended is actually so that we prevent ourselves from potentially infecting other people if we are asymptomatic but might unknowingly be a carrier. So that's the benefit of wearing a mask. So me wearing a mask is not because it will prevent me from getting the virus. It's because it will prevent people around me from getting the virus if I happen to accidentally breathe too closely to you, or sneeze or cough near you suddenly in a way that I can't, prevent whatever. If I am wearing a mask, it protects you. So we ask that other people wear a mask so that we are also protected as we are there working and sharing and talking about witchcraft, which is what we love to do. So yeah, I am not back at the museum yet physically, but I am doing some work for them from home, and I should be there starting sometime in June. But yeah, gotta get my car road ready and get it all legal and updated, everything like that. So but yeah, those are kind of the big things that I've been focusing on here at home. And I did wake up earlier today because we were supposed to go and help my partner's parents with something today. So I sort of was forced to wake up earlier in the morning than I usually would. Didn't get very much sleep last night, but who knows, maybe this will reset my sleep schedule so I can stop. I was basically on a sleep schedule as though I work third shift. That was kind of what it was like. So I've only been sleeping 6 to 8 hours a night, which sounds pretty normal, right? It just so happens those 6 to 8 hours were like drastically shifted from when most other people are sleeping. So yeah, I used to wake up and it would be like dinner time and, fall asleep well past dawn. So I woke up a lot earlier today. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, I just wanted to record a little update here. A little update for me, as you all know, is approximately half an hour. So I hope you're having a great day. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch and or listen to this video, maybe while you were doing other things around the house. I really appreciate it. I definitely have also not even been making time really to watch any other videos except like watching people play The Sims or Animal Crossing, because I don't play Animal Crossing, but I have a couple of favorite Sims YouTubers who are currently playing Animal Crossing as well, so I've been like checking out their videos just to have like some noise and something to watch. So if my videos are that thing to watch and listen to sometimes for you, thank you. That's super cool. And I'll see you next time. Until then, I hope you are well. Don't forget to be awesome, blessed be, and goodbye.